Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel, Two Can Dream. Today we're going to be talking about macrame. So what is macrame? Most people will know what it is, but won't necessarily be familiar with the actual term macrame. So if you, for example, Google the word macrame, a lot of images would pop up with wall hangings and plant hangers, which are getting quite popular lately. Some of you might already own some type of macrame in your home. That could be a netted tablecloth or a blanket. Or for example, if you ever received or made a friendship bracelet that uses macrame knotting techniques. There's a lot of people making rugs from macrame as well. So you never know, you could have a macrame rug in your home. All macrame basically means is that it's a bunch of knots put together to create a creative pattern, a decorative element that looks something like this. So macrame is typically and most well known in beige, as you've just seen, made with cotton cord. So the cotton cord will vary in size depending on the item that you're making. So normally the bigger the object, the thicker the cord used. Although cotton cord is the most popular cord to use, I am seeing a lot of people getting really creative and using different types of cord, wool, hemp, knitting yarn, and many others, and it creates a really interesting structure, especially if you put the different types of cord together. It's really creative. So one of the main things I love about macrame is the fringe element, which is at the bottom of the wall hanging. As you can see here, this particularly goes to wall hangings, or for example if you have a macrame rug, the fringe element would be on each side of the rug. I think it can really change the whole look of the wall piece, so I really like to get to the bottom of it and start brushing it out, chopping it away. I think it gives it more of a hippie boho look, gives that beach vibe. You can make it as messy or as neat as you want, and it's my favourite part of doing the whole macrame piece because it feels like cutting hair, which is oddly pleasing. Don't judge me. There are three basic types of macrame knots, which isn't a lot if you're thinking about taking up a new hobby or learning a new craft and you're not as patient as me. But if I learned it, so can you. These three main knots can create so many different variations, and if you know the three basic ones, then you're free to go and create beautiful wall hangings. So it gives you the freedom to go out and you can make your piece as original and as unique as you want it. Once you learn these three basic knots, you can go ahead and start learning different ones, because all the other following knots will have some sort of similarity to the three basic ones. If you're thinking about taking up macrame, there are many video tutorials out there to get started. I use the macrame pattern book, which has over 70 knots, including the three basic techniques, as well as patterns for bags, coasters. In fact, if you already know how to braid your hair because your mum taught you, you already know how macrame works, you already know one macrame knot. So a little bit about the history of macrame. Although it's difficult to pin down the actual origin of this craft, it's believed and has been found to have started in Middle East, Eastern Asia, Eastern Europe and North Africa. So it goes back thousands of years, which if you think about it makes a lot of sense, because people would use knots and cord to create many different household items. They probably wouldn't have called it macrame back then, but there is evidence of braiding and knotting among the BC civilization, so it goes back that far. And anything that goes back to the beginnings and our early civilizations, very close to my heart, and makes me feel even more connected to the craft. It's believed that this knotting craft was first used among the native people of Japan, who often believed that the craft would bring about fertility and served as a type of talisman or charm of good nature. So it wasn't used for negative things or casting spells, negative spirits, but more of a positive sign, which again is something that's very close to my heart because I believe in signs, good signs and positive energies. The word macrame, where did it come from? It's thought to have originated from the Arabic word which means ornamental fringe, knotting crossways or fringed shawl, as they were originally used to create fringes on textiles and cloths and rugs. Although the craft was originally intended as a finishing touch to a textile, it quickly became a very much loved decorative craft. In fact, even sailors used the craft as a pastime at the sea. So they would make hammocks and belts, and then they would sell them off at land. Of course, they would travel all across the world, and so the craft naturally spread very quickly. The craft spread in Europe as a decorative element, mainly of women's clothing. So modern macrame as is used today, mainly for wall hangings, plant hangers or home decoration purposes, has really gotten popular from 1868, because before then it was used mainly for clothing or as a pastime, which I suppose it is now as well. And since 1868 it's been known as macrame. Macrame has been very popular at weddings as well, especially wedding arches and table decorations. So they've been very popular and they look beautiful when they're decorated with flowers. In fact, this is the first time that I learned about macrame. It was when we were first planning our wedding. I saw a wedding arch filled with macrame, and I just really wanted to do it instead of buying it somewhere else. So because our wedding plans have slightly changed, I wasn't able to do the wedding arch, but nevertheless we did get married in the end, and I learned how to make macrame either way, and I do have plans to make the wedding arch for somebody else hopefully, and make someone else's wedding special. So there you have it. It's a craft that's been around for centuries, but now I believe it's taken a real artistic and creative toll as people are getting really creative, using different materials, different patterns in different sizes and shapes and for different purposes. We're newbies to YouTube, so I would really appreciate any positive comments, likes, subscriptions, anything. Check out our website, which is in the link below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.